Please like and comment on the video below. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them in the future. If you're interested in learning to trade successfully on sports, then why not visit the BetAngel Academy, where we have more detailed videos. So often, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I sort of say, oh, today looks good, or this meeting looks good, or one of these things, certain characteristics are coming out of the markets. And I thought it'd be worth showing you sort of how I set up. And we're on a Saturday as I'm recording this video, and we've got the St. Ledger running today. And Doncaster is the focus meeting of the day. So you sort of suspect that would probably be a better meeting to trade. And the reason that you say that is, where there's lots of money coming through the market, that tends to produce more favorable characteristics from a trading perspective. Not always, because sometimes when you look, for example, at meetings at Cheltenham or some of these really, really big meetings, there's so much money that it just swamps the underlying activity on the market. So there is a balance to be had. Sometimes, one of the skills that I've picked up as a trader is I can pretty much turn my hat to anything. So, if you get a big market with huge liquidity, I'll adopt a certain trading style for that. And if we get a really poor, low quality market with lower liquidity and higher volatility, then I'll change my trading style to adapt to that. So when I first started trading, I'd go into every market and use the same strategy, or I would sit and wait for the perfect opportunity. But the problem is that doesn't maximize your potential in the market. One of the ways that I've grown to be as big as I am, and I'm as capable as I am, is that I can flip and flop styles left, right, and center. So, that's the most effective way to trade. But when you're starting out, you're going to have to start from some base. So you practice a strategy, you become good at that. And when you're comfortable with that strategy, you'll probably find it only works in 1 in 5 markets or something, or maybe even less. It depends what you're trying to do. And therefore, what you do is, in between on all of the other races, you will look for other opportunities and different ways of trading it. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, for every market, there's a strategy, and every strategy a market. Your role as a trader is to match those two things together. So the point I'm just trying to make here is that you can trade every single market. Every market has a correct way of being traded, but you just may not be able to do it, and some will be much harder than others. So I look at the best race on the cards today, which is the St. Ledger. I will be amazed if I don't make money on that particular race. It's just a question of how much. Now, it could be £5 or it could be 500, and I'm hoping it's going to be 500, but you can't specifically tell until you reach that market. However, you can look at the markets and make some broad judgment on what you think is going to happen within the markets and where most of the betting activity will be over the course of the day. So today's quite interesting because of the mixture of meetings that we've got going on. So let's have a look at the card. And what I do here when I fire up BetAngel is I go through the same routine every day. Now, because I'm well practiced, I don't have to think through trades. I just turn up and do them. But what I will do is before the session starts, and it starts in about 2 hours time, I'll fire up BetAngel, put all the markets into Guardian, and have a quick assessment on what's going on within those markets. So if we fire up Guardian, that will bring up the Guardian screen. And then I'm going to bring in today's racing. I'm going to look at the UK and the Irish racing. There's some good racing on Australia last night, actually. But of course, I can't show you that now because it's finished. But I would do the same thing on Australian racing. So I'll add the markets to Guardian. You can see at the moment we've got it on a 1 second refresh, so it will just gently populate the markets. And if you want to speed that up, then all you need to do is change the refresh rate. And then boom, you see all of the markets are active and presented to you. So if we go down this list, we can see we've got Chester, Chelmsford, Listowel, Doncaster, Lingford, Bath. There's a lot on today. That's the first assessment you can make. You can see that Chester goes off at 13:30. 10 minutes later, we've got Chelmsford. Then 5 minutes, we've got Listowel. Then 5 minutes after that, we've got Doncaster. Then 5 minutes after that, we've got Lingfield. Then 5 minutes after that, we've got Bath. And then 5 minutes after, it's like, it's going to be a crazy day. And there's going to be lots of stuff happening left, right, and centre. I actually, when I look at this card, I'm sort of looking at it and thinking, Listowel is in Ireland. It's over jumps. We're at the tail end of the summer as I'm doing this video. So the problem is that's going to get no focus at all, really. Nothing's really going to happen there. I'd be surprised if we get any significant volume at that particular meeting. And obviously it's in Ireland, so the volume's lower anyway, and it's over jumps, and there are many characteristics in there which, you know, don't look particularly suitable. So I will probably skip Listowel today. One of the problems that we have with it is it's going off just before Doncaster, where the focus is. So that's annoying. I'd rather not have that on the card at all, but because it's an Irish race, probably it's going to get less focus anyway. And if we look at the volume at Listowel, you can, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, you can see here that it's 12,500, and then look at the liquidity. Well, I said liquidity, the volume. Volume is not liquidity. I'll do a video on it one day. And I think I've done a video on it. But you can see here there's 170,000 versus 12,000. So which one would you choose? Would you go for 12,500 at the Irish Jumps meeting, or would you go for the St. Ledger meeting on a Saturday? You know, I think that's fairly obvious which one you'd choose to go for. But let's look at the volume at Lingford afterwards. You can see that's pretty low, but look at Bath, that's even lower. And you can see that sort of pattern of behaviour continues during the day. You can see we've got Chester, you know, that looks all right. Quite a bit of activity at Chelmsford already, and then you can see it dips when we go to the Irish Jumps, and then there's a Group 2 at Doncaster, so there's lots of liquidity. So can you see, you know, there's races every 5 minutes today. You'll probably get pretty tired if you try and trade every single 5 minutes. Some of the races will go off late and they'll clash with other races, and that will take away some of the volume. But you can see there's a pattern beginning to develop there. The big race of the day is the St. Ledger, which we can see down here. There's more racing that goes on into the evening, so I'll just bring the St. Ledger up towards the top. So you see there's £600,000 has been matched in that market already. Huge. So as we get closer and closer to the St. Ledger, I will turn my attention to that particular race, and I will probably do that about half an hour before the race is due to get underway. Now, most of the liquidity won't arrive in that race until we get a little bit closer to the start, but because of that, I will sort of have a watching brief on the market, and I may actively start putting trades in sort of 15 to 20 minutes out, but then I will trade it quite aggressively as the volume begins to flow in. But we can tell here that we've got Musselburgh in front of it. Listowel goes off at the same time as Musselburgh. Thanks for that. And then the St. Ledger goes off 5 minutes later. I mean, what is racing doing? You know, it's the oldest classic that we have. Whenever you do the scheduling, why not give it a 50-20 minute gap so everybody can watch it, get excited about it, place their bets, trade it, do whatever they want to, and enjoy the race. But no, let's just chuck it in the middle of everything else. Yeah, that'll work well, won't it? Anyway, rant over. I hate that. And I think this is where racing has just got it so wrong. If you look at what football does, you know, they have matches on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then other stuff going on as well, but they do split out and change the timings. And, you know, I think that's a bit of a pain if you're a supporter, but nonetheless, you know, it's for the benefit of the game. So why chuck the St. Ledger into that, you know, that races are going to clash with the St. Ledger. Musselburgh may go off late, and it probably will. Listowel, you know, they won't care about the St. Ledger. So, you know, it's a shame that they can't give it that level of focus. I would much prefer it if there was a nice clean gap just before it. And this is why Cheltenham trades really well, because you get lovely clean gaps between all of the races at that time of the year. And you don't necessarily get that at other times of the year. Anyhow, you know, can you see where I'm coming from on that? As we head through the card, you can see that Musselburgh is going off the same time as the Irish race. So just, you know, that reinforces and says to us even more, just forget Listowel. You're just not even looking at it. Just, I'm not going to put it on the card at all. I'm going to remove it from Guardian and not glance at it. And then you can see that as we go into the evening, there's other stuff going on around there. And we do actually have Leopardstown coming into the mix as we move through the day. But if we look down at Leopardstown, you can see we've got a Group 2 race here, a Group 3, and then we've got a Group 1 at 17:25. And there is a 10-minute gap there. As long as Listowel goes off and Musselburgh goes off on time. So in fact, you know, we're looking through this entire card, and an opportunity has popped out there when we look at the group race at the Curragh. I'll just move that up so you can see it a little bit better over my head. But can you see there, you know, a very short price. I know how I'm going to trade this already. I can take one look at this market. I know that it's going to have my focus when I arrive at this market a bit later. And I already know what I'm going to do on this race. It's too early to do anything as it stands at this moment in time. But just one glance at that market and it will tell me exactly sort of all I need to know about how I'm likely to trade it, when I'm going to turn up to trade it. And I just need to sit there and wait for the characteristics to develop and then jump on the trade when I'm ready. But you can see that you can gain a lot of information from looking at Guardian in this particular way. But also, and here's a little tip for you, if you want to figure out where the strongest meetings are, if you just go up and you sort by market, can you see here, in fact we've got, I'm just going to delete the stuff for tomorrow because we've got stuff from the 16th. So if I just go here and remove all of those markets, you can see, in fact, we've got some group ones, you know, we've got some good racing on at the Curragh. You can see that already from what we're doing here. But let me remove that. I'm just going to click on the header for markets. That will sort it by markets type. So if we look at Bath today, you can see the volume at the moment is 3, 4, 5, 3, and there's a bit of money here on the 5:30 race, or the near on 5:30 race. Chelmsford, you can see the amount of money being matched is in 10s and 20s. So, you know, Chelmsford is better than Bath, just looking at that. You can see decent amounts of money at Chester. That looks pretty good. Massive amounts of money at Doncaster. Pretty decent amounts of money at Leopardstown. Bit weaker at Lingfield. Nothing at Listowel. And Musselburgh. I'm probably not going to trade Musselburgh, to be honest. I would rather put my focus on Leopardstown. But I'll have a look at Musselburgh when Musselburgh comes around. So if you sort by market, that will give you a good indication as to where the betting focus is, and decent betting heats tend to produce decent trading heats. And if you sort by start time, which is where we arrived when we started looking at this video, you can see that you can get an idea about the flow of the day and where the feature races are, where the biggest amount of money's been matched, and what impact that has on the trading market over the course of the day. I'll show you another little tip here as well. If I go in and I mark these Doncaster races and then sort by start time, can you see you get a highlighted bar basically telling you where those feature races are, and then you can start looking at the races that are in the run-up to those particular races. So yeah, it gives you a good idea on where to look at. But this is the sort of exercise that I go through every day. A couple of hours or so before the racing starts, I'll go through the cards, make an assessment on where the big races are, the ones that I want to trade. I'll make a little note. I was looking for my notes here, but they're not on my desk. I'll make a little note about the things that I want to trade, characteristics that I've seen before, what I've seen from last year, how I expect the market to behave. And then I'll come and sit down at my desk 15, 20 minutes before the first race and get underway on the day. And I won't stop until the last race has finished. But yeah, if you're interested in trying to understand what's coming up in front of you, the markets that could be interesting, that's the way that I do this setup every day before every trading session. And I suggest that you should do the same.